so with that, the question I would like to ask you is, given that the focus of our discussion today is on innovation, more akin to product development rather than software development, I would say, physical product development.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in that context, would you give us an example of the product development process, any typical process that you would be able to tell us about, or maybe you can explain a little bit what all it takes?
So whenever we thought about any product development process, so there are multiple ways people approach this entire development process. See, now the most widely used is the stage gate process.
Right.
But at the same time, there are other methodologies like whether it is Agile or whether it is based on the DFSS principle.
Right.
In the case of stage gate process, what happens there? So whenever we say stage gate, so that means we define and as well as divide the entire product development process into the multiple stages. It starts with the finding the need of the user. So whenever I'm developing a product, so obviously that product has to serve the user where that need is clearly defined.
Right.
So it starts with the need finding. So we should have accurate need to be identified, and based on that one, then I can start a product. So that's what I think it starts with the need finding process. Then obviously the next stage is that ideating in what best way I can design this particular product, considering the constraints, that's what will be applicable for any product development in I will say the practical world. Whether it is a cost, whether it is a form factor, or whether it is a real estate it will take for that particular product. And at the same time, one has to be mindful is that user setting. In what user setting this particular product will be placed in to do its job. So all those things will come upon the finding the need, doing the right need finding, then defining the specifications, and then after defining the specifications, finding the right way to achieve those specifications.
Sir.
And I think the most important part is that building the prototypes. So that's what in the today's world, no one will wait till the entire product development happens and then we are trying to put into the user series. So what we will try to do is build the early prototype, and then as soon as the prototype is ready, put into the environment which is equivalent or same as the user who expect that product need to work. So then you will get a very good feedback about it, so that later on we can't fundamentally run in any of the aspect. And once the POC is done, then that's what then it goes to the next stage, saying that okay, now the POC is built in, then how shall I get into the great aesthetics, as well as how shall I make sure that that product particularly look like finished good product.
Yeah.
And then obviously then there are the other I can say the factors are there, like all the compliances and everything. So all the in industrial world will have to follow many compliances, whether it is a pressure vessel design, whether it is Indian border regulations or ASME. And then once all these compliances have been done, then finally we launch a product, and after the post-launch, whatever the supports and everything required, that's what we do. So this is just as a very brief way how one can look at the entire product development, which starts with the need finding and ends with that. Finally, the product is at the user's place to serve its intended job.
Okay. And as a designer, basically, as a product designer, you have to be, I don't necessarily mean just industrial design, as an engineering designer also, you have to be mindful of each and every one of these steps.
Yeah.
Because you can't basically ignore the compliance right from the beginning and then try to maybe overlay that as an additional thing. Exactly what you mentioned, even in terms of the user experience part of it. So the entire journey needs to be somewhere at the back of the mind for any design engineer. Yeah?
Yes.
Would you characterize it like that?
Yeah, so journey terms of now, first of all, if I'm sure where I want to reach, whether the specifications are clear for me, then I think it makes the things much easier. So as an engineer, then I am very much comfortable with the boundary conditions which are being set. So in that aspect, and then I will try to come up with the most efficient or the optimum way to achieve those particular specifications.